A world-renowned grappler turned UFC top contender, Gilbert Durinho Burns, represents the story of a man who found both love and passion on the mats from a very young age. With both of his most recent wins coming in absolutely dominating fashion on the feet, it may come as a surprise to some that Gilbert isn't even known for his striking. In fact, Gilbert is one of the best grapplers in the UFC and has won multiple competitions around the world. And I know what you may be thinking. Look, he beat up a senior citizen version of Damian Maia, over 40 years old, and beat up a rapper slash movie star turned pro fighter. And first off, I want to say, you're not wrong. But I would like to point out that over the course of his MMA career, Damian Maia has only been knocked out or TKO'd one other time. And that was over 10 years ago at UFC 102, coming via KO, obviously, by Nate Marquardt. And that speaks volumes when you consider the level of competition he's fighting at and for how long. And that's for the Frozen One. I get it. He may be distracted by all of his studio sessions and red carpet appearances, but even he said that he's never been more ready and more violent for a fight in his entire life. That being said, knocking out this person, especially considering he's known for putting people the fuck to sleep, is definitely nothing to scoff at, especially if you're not even known for being a striker. But regardless of what you may be thinking of Gilbert, and if you're on the hype train or not, you can't deny that he has earned his position as one of the top contenders in one of the most stacked divisions in the entire UFC. However, who even is Gilbert? Where is he from? And what is his story? Gilbert Alexander Burns was born July 20th, 1986 in a small town right outside of Rio de Janeiro called Fonseca. And look, if you look closely right in this picture, a little bit closer. Tony, zoom in more, zoom in. Yep, and there, right there. You see him? That's Gilbert. And it would actually be in this town where Gilbert began training in 1998. You see, the story goes like this. And listen, it's from Wikipedia, so take it as you will. But allegedly, in exchange for fixing some of his father's cars, his father's customers' cars, sorry, big part of the story, I know, but his dad would later repay all three of his sons for that deed with BJJ memberships to their local gym for 3 whole months. Now, I also had doubts in this story, so after 5 hours of Gilbert Burns interviews and even hitting up my boys at both the FBI and Anonymous, I know I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say it. They might get pissed off, but I said it. So take that story as you will. But hey, Gilbert, if you're watching, let us know maybe, man. And even maybe hit me up personally. I got some mats right over there if you want to get choked the fuck out. All right, enough calling out a top contender in the UFC, huh? Anyways, it would be here at Nova Union HQ in Rio de Janeiro, where as teenagers, Gilbert would actually develop his nickname, Durinho. You see, his older brother would soon pick up the nickname Todo Duro from the veterans of the gym, meaning tough guy or hard man. And because Gilbert held such a similar demeanor to his brother, but in a much smaller frame, they just kind of passed the name on to him. Durinho, meaning little tough guy or little hard man. And Gilbert would even later explain in interviews how he actually preferred to be referred to by his nickname rather than his first name. Because in Brazil, so many people were just mispronouncing his name on a daily basis. Instead of Gilbert, I know it's crazy, they would say, "Man who knocked the fuck out of Tyron Woodley now deserves a title shot." Yeah, that drove him absolutely up the wall. But Gilbert would continue training and would soon develop a deep, deep passion for the sport. And shortly after, he would even set his sights extremely high. He would want to become a BJJ champion in the black belt division. And then I know what you're all thinking. Wow, who would have thought that one of the most world-renowned grapplers and one of the top contenders in the UFC, the guy who's won multiple championships in BJJ, wanted to become a black belt? Wow, great insight. Tell us something we didn't know, buddy. Okay, you know what? Maybe somebody didn't know that. Stop fucking yelling at me, alright? What can I say? Anyways, Gilbert would bounce around gyms a little bit until finally, in 2007, Gilbert would arrive at a gym where he found home. And at this home, he was able to achieve his black belt in 2007 under Rafael Fofito. Anyways, for any of you Gracie diehards who claim, oh, but listen, man, he doesn't have a real black belt if it's not from one of the Gracies. Well, here you go. Here's the lineage. Take a look. All the way starting with our boy Carlos to Carlson to Andrea to Rafael to our man of the hour, Gilbert. And if any of you Gracie diehard fans have an issue with that, well, you know what? I may just call him my boy Eddie Bravo on your asses, huh? Know the guy? Heard of him? Oh, only the guy who fucking put to sleep your Gracie's boy twice in back-to-back matches. What? I mean, honestly, I would never say that to any of their faces, and I'm only saying that because I'm in the comfort of my parents' basement, and there's about 5,000 kilometers separating us, and a pandemic going on. So yeah, take that, you frauds. Yeah, look into it. Gilbert would get his first international placements on the competitive BJJ scene in 2007. You see, it was then where he was able to get third place at the IBJJF World Championships at the 167-pound brown belt division. However, it would be in 2009 and 2010 where Gilbert really had his breakout years. You see, in 2009, he was able to achieve third place in the black belt division at the IBJJF European Open. However, in 2010, the big year for Gilbert, he placed first place, and let me get the cards here. There's a lot of them. He placed first place at the IBJJF World Championships No-Gi, first place at the UAE JJF Abu Dhabi World Pro, and first place at the CBJJJ Brazilian Nationals. Yeah, big list. But all that considered, the following year was the biggest accomplishment he was able to get in his life. You see, in 2011, Gilbert was able to relinquish a long-time feud and battle with his local bully, Francis Ngannou. You see, after getting bullied and beaten up his entire life, he finally found the opportunity to fight him once again, but this time trained and prepared. You see, it was at the Street Beefs Open Weight Grand Prix where Gilbert met Francis in the final fight to determine the champion. And it was there where he claimed the champion as the Street Beefs World Champion and achieved the unachievable and capped off his competitive BJJ career. No, actually, he just won the most, competitive and well-regarded tournaments in the world, the IBJJF, World Championship. Just another gold medal, no big deal. But it would be then, after that gold medal in 2011 IBJJF Championships, that Gilbert began to shift his focus. You see, he achieved everything he wanted to achieve in BJJ. He got his black belt, and he got more gold medals than one man could ever need, unless your name is maybe Henry Cejudo. And with all this considered, it was time. It was time for him to make the shift. Time for him to make the move to MMA. And that's exactly what Gilbert did in 2011. Gilbert would make his professional MMA debut in 2012 against Jose Salgado in the Crown Fighting Championship 5. He would go on to finish Jose via submission and would then proceed to be the head grappling coach for Team Vitor at Tough Brazil. And I know you may find that a boring little fact, but hey, you may recognize Gilbert from some of these famous clips from Tough in the past. Anyways, all jokes aside, Gilbert would continue his winning ways, going on a 7-fight win streak with all first-round finishes. This included 4 first-round KOs and 3 first. I just held up a 3 for 4. 4 first-round KOs and 3 first-round submissions. And after the 7th fight, this is what got the attention of Dana White, Sean Shelby, and Mick Maynard. They opened their goggles, their genie ball, and they saw the next UFC top contender. Gilbert would make his UFC debut alongside Joanna Jędrzejczyk, also making her debut on UFC Fox 12. It would be here where Gilbert would make it. It would be here where Gilbert would get his first win in the UFC via unanimous decision by defeating Andreas Stahl, and he would continue his winning ways with 2 more wins, both via submission this time via armbar at UFC Fight Night 62 and UFC 179. I would like to note that his third opponent, is the opponent after his third appearance. Okay, his third opponent in the UFC. There we go. Was that so hard to say, man? Come on. The third opponent he was supposed to face in the UFC was supposed to be then ranked number 7 fighter in the lightweight division, Josh Thompson, but due to injury, Josh had to pull out and he was later replaced by Alexander Cowboy Oliveira. Tony, wrong Cowboy, man. Oliveira. Tony, come on. There we go. Cowboy Oliveira. It would be after this fight where Tony, you got me on your mind, Tony. Gilbert would pick this one up over Alex, but it would be after this fight where he would see the first loss in his MMA career. And this would mark a bit of a rough patch for Gilbert. You see, he would win 1, lose 1, win 2, lose 1. But after the big KO loss from Dan Hooker, things took a change for the better. A lot better at that. You see, even Dan Hooker alluded to the fact that the only reason he was able to KO Gilbert in the first place was because he was so dehydrated. You see, it was pretty well known that Gilbert struggled to make weight for 155, but just kept doing so regardless. I say this, but Gilbert's next 2 fights after Dan Hooker were still at lightweight, and he picked up wins on both of them. But regardless of this, he still made the move to welterweight. And it was then where things took a change for the absolute better. He went on an absolute tear, like we all know, picking up big wins over huge names like Gunnar Nelson and Demian Maia, and which brings us now to date, his biggest one of all, Tyron Woodley. To recap, Gilbert is a tough, hungry, grappling genius, to be honest. He grew up on the mats in Brazil and was in competition for his entire life growing up. He's had his ups and downs in the UFC, but has remained persistent and active the entire time. And now, while being on a 6-fight win streak, his next fight may very well be for the title. And from here on out, who knows? The ceiling for Gilbert really is endless. Anyways, that's it. Peace. Thanks.